So our first guest for season 3 would be Sister Nadira Chippa, and today I would like to quote from her book, Soothe Your Soul. To soothe your soul, every soul that Allah created will soon end this temporary journey to enter an eternal abode. May your soul find peace and comfort in this world and return to its Creator with joy. Soothe your soul with the love and remembrance of Allah Ta'ala. Okay, welcome back to Modern and Modest, and yes, it is season 3, and what better way to start it off with inspirational and motivational speaker with us today, Nadira Chippa. Assalamu alaikum, Nadira, and welcome to Modern and Modest, and I'm grateful that you could be our first guest on our season, starting off with a bang, all that inspiration, all that motivation. Now, Nadira, I believe you're not just a mom to a beautiful 4-year-old, but also an author, a life coach, a counselor. How do you do all of this, and when did this all start out for you?
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's so lovely to be here today. It took some time getting me here, but alhamdulillah for it, and shukran for all your kind words and your kindness towards me. Jazakallah khair. Okay, starting off, Ink of Inspiration. It started off with just one article called I See You. That was the first article that I wrote for myself. It was an article I wrote after my son was born, which was a time where I felt I needed those words of encouragement. I needed that inspiration. I needed that comfort. And I remember myself thinking that, you know what, I need that support, and where do I look for it? Where do I look for that type of inspiration and support? And I took the pen and a notebook, and that's when I wrote my first article. And with that, I shared it on social media for the benefit of other sisters. And alhamdulillah, since then up to date, the response has been phenomenal to every article.
Okay, so your journey into writing is very much linked to your little one. I think he was your motivation. He was the start up of Nadira Chippa starting out to be an author. So how long ago would this have been for you?
Just over 2 years ago, that I did share my writings. Yes, I have been writing for a long time, since he's been born. I documented the journey of pregnancy. I documented the journey of entering into motherhood, all those overwhelming feelings. I needed an outlet. So for me, it was writing. For me, that was my time, that was my space. Something just for myself, something that my soul found comfort in. And so just over 2 years ago, I did share it. And yes, he was the catalyst, and he is my inspiration to the ink that I penned down.
All right, so would you say that your writing in some way helped you to de-stress, or for you to get over that time that you needed to reconnect with yourself? I mean, going through a pregnancy and giving birth to a little one, it changes the dynamics of who you are as a woman. Did you find that was time for you to connect your emotions, your feelings?
Look, each woman and each mother knows that, and I always say this in every workshop, with every child that is born, a mother is born. So when a mother is born, that's a whole new you. It's a whole different person. So with that, you're trying to embrace the lack of sleep, the responsibility of bringing up a little human, and that's a lot to take in all at once. So we normally don't prepare a mother for the mental, the psychological, and the emotional stress that comes with being a new mother. Its importance is normally placed on the physical healing. But there are a lot of wounds that are opened, emotional wounds that are open when you do become a mother. And yes, to heal that, you need to now dig into your soul to find what your passions are. You know, what do you find calmness in? What do you find yourself in? Because honestly, at that time, you need to hold on to you and to who you are. You need to be happy in order for your family and for your little one to be happy and to thrive.
Starting out with just writing articles, and obviously when you started out, if you don't mind me asking, your profession, were you always an author or a writer?
No, I was never an author or writer. Becoming an author or writer was what Allah Ta'ala chose for me. And this happened to be something that I love to do. But I stumbled upon it. I stumbled upon something that I love so much, and I had no idea. I actually graduated with BCom accounting and went on to work at a leading financial institute and trying to do my articles and climb up the corporate ladder. And then motherhood embraced me. And my life took a turn towards the creative side, alhamdulillah, and that's only through the mercy and through the the infinite blessing of Allah Ta'ala that you realize that sometimes in your darkest moments, Allah Ta'ala sends to you this hope and this light to say, this is my rope of hope to you, this is your path. And when you embrace that, your entire world starts to change and you become the person that Allah Ta'ala chose for you to become. And that journey is not a journey that you choose for yourself.
So not, just discovering your passion, which led you into writing and becoming an author. Do you find that you faced any challenges? Was this challenging for you at the time? And once you've written your articles, do you find that your work was noticed or recognized immediately? What type of feedback did you get from your articles?
Okay, from being from not being a writer, actually, from being someone that's basically in corporate to now writing an article for me, for myself, and then to share that was very personal. But I decided to share that because of the amount of moms that were struggling out there, that I could see that were struggling, and you see, the challenges that we face as women are the same. But it's just that everybody masks it off with a beautiful smile. But we don't know what the next sister is going through. We don't feel it. And to share an article, and for me, my challenge was getting it to the hearts and the minds of other sisters. Getting into their hearts and to their minds and saying, you know what, I'm there. I know what you're going through. I'm going through the same, and it's going to be okay. And Allah Ta'ala sees us. If nobody appreciates you, but it's Allah Ta'ala that appreciates you. So getting my articles onto social media was the first time that I went onto social media. So I had no social media account before sharing my inspirational articles. I was not out there. I was not someone that could stand, up and public speak. In fact, I was not trained at that time to do that. But alhamdulillah, from the first article, the response has been phenomenal. I opened up a Facebook account and I posted this article, and the moms, the community, the country, and alhamdulillah, internationally also, it's been recognized since the first article up to today. So the response has been shukr, all positive and all good. It did not take me, the fear was there that this was not work. This is not for me. But my intention was always, even if it was to help one sister, alhamdulillah, my job is done. So it wasn't for the masses that I posted, but the masses followed. They followed because somehow they connected with the words.
I think as a woman, you can identify what the next woman is going through or how the next woman feels. And I think it all comes back to your intent. Even if you make a difference to one individual, that in itself was fulfilling for you. But during this time that you were getting your article out, what were the challenges that you faced? Were there any that you faced?
Yes, they were, in the sense that I had to now maintain a copyright on my articles, because articles were going viral by deleting the name of the author, which then I had a challenge with printing that into my book, because obviously I have a copyright on those articles. And I found it extremely difficult to go onto the pages that it's being shared on and say, you know what, this is my writing. And for me, that was my main challenge on social media itself. But I grew from that. At one point I said, I'm not going to be writing on social, I'm not going to be sharing on social media as much. But every single sister that related to my articles had given me so much of strength, so much of encouragement to say that, you know what, irrespective of the fact that people are now basically plagiarizing your work, you go ahead and do what you have to do and do what you love. In that sense, I got so much of support from my fellow sisters and encouragement that despite that challenge, I went ahead and shared every single article that I wrote.
And it's only grown since then.
Yes, and I have grown also since then.
So Nadira, from your experience with writing articles, you've had your challenges and you've had fantastic feedback from posting your articles. You've only had people that motivated you and encouraged you.
Yeah.
Did you by any chance have anyone discourage you? Was there any type of negativity?
Okay, to answer honestly, you see, Allah Ta'ala doesn't gift up to us patience and gratitude in a beautiful box and display to us or gift it to us. He sends people into our lives in order to test us and for us to grow as people also, and for us to learn that patience and that the true meaning of growing as a person. It means that your soul and your heart and your mind has to be clear, and forgiveness. Unfortunately, yes, I did experience negative feedback in the sense that I was accused of plagiarism myself over one article. What I learned from that was to use it as a platform to grow as a person, to learn how to forgive, and to learn how to let go of things that's not in your control. And Allah Ta'ala is so great, and Allah Ta'ala is so merciful that He sends you that strength at the time that you need it the most, when you could retaliate. You could go on a social media platform and, vent out your anger, vent out your frustration at being falsely accused and things like that. But when you sit down and you're masala and you think about it, life is so temporary. So when we hold on to these grudges, when we hold on to this negativity, it's causing us grief. You understand? It's not how do you make someone else understand what you think? You can't. So you forgive, you let go, and you make dua for that person. And when you make dua for that person and you wish happiness on others, Allah Ta'ala sends it back to you 1,000,000 times more. Alhamdulillah.
So I guess it only makes you a stronger individual and gets you to be better at what you do.
Exactly, and there's no place for competitiveness, there's no place for pettiness. You know, when you grow as a woman and you grow as a Muslimah, you come to realize and you come to a happy place where you don't want that negativity in your life. When you realize that tomorrow that you might be, in your kabar, and what do you take? What do you take with you? Do you want that load on you? No. Absolutely. You want to take happiness and memories, inshallah.
Okay, so that was Nadira Chippa. Definitely happiness and memories and all that motivation and inspiration. So please stay tuned. We're taking a short ad break and we will be running a beautiful competition with Sister Nadira. So if you want to know what that is, please keep watching and you would know at the end of the show. Welcome back to Modern and Modest. So Sister Nadira, with all your articles and the topics, would you be able to share with our viewers what topics do you like writing about? What are you so passionate about writing on?
Okay, I write on topics that's close to my heart and close to the hearts of so many. So I write on topics that affect us and extract the everyday happiness and joy from our lives. So topics like postnatal depression, topics like homosexuality, topics like abuse, topics in society that's unheard of, topics that nobody speaks of, toxic parenting, divorce, the loss of a child, loss of a partner, the grief that you go through knowing that you're going through depression and there's nobody out there that understands you, there's nobody that can see your thoughts and that could reach out to you and give you that hope. So topics that really disturb our peace of mind, and also topics on death, topics that make us realize and appreciate life so much more. Topics of happiness and how we've become so materialistic that we don't appreciate the little things in life. So the topics that I write is varied, but I like to touch on topics that affect us emotionally, psychologically, and it kind of does not see the light of day. Topics that we would not just discuss sitting around coffee.
So Nadira, with the topics that you write on, you write first, of course, what's close to your heart and what you feel other women experience, because we all are one and we all feel and experience similar things in life. But do you find when you do your counseling with your clients on a one-on-one, do they influence what you write on perhaps what they're experiencing currently?
Gee, definitely. There's topics that they want me to highlight. They come to me with a challenge. I don't say problem, because in life there's no such thing as a problem. We have challenges, and Allah Ta'ala sends it to us. And the thing is that they want a certain topic highlighted, for instance, abuse in a marriage. And they would say to me, could you please write an article on this to highlight it to other women that there's hope out there, that sabr does not mean being beat up every day and sitting at home and saying this is my life. There's hope out there. There's there's encouragement and there's motivation to seek help and to get help, and there's light at the end of your darkness. So yes, it's very much topics do come from counseling, as they want others to know that they're not alone and that there is help out there.
So when you write these articles and they seem to be influenced by the individuals that you counsel, and the topics that come that surface for you to talk about are not your topics that just anybody could chat about. I mean, most people will shy away from speaking of it or writing about it. So how do you feel about writing on topics related to issues like abuse or homosexuality or toxic parenting? I mean, those topics are taboo.
Definitely.
We don't want to talk about those.
Definitely. Look, there's topics in our society, in our community, in our country and the world at large that people sweep under the carpet, so to speak, sweep under the carpet. And they do not see the light of day. But those topics and those discussions need to be highlighted. They need to be put on a platform, because honestly, if not us, our children, the generation to follow, they are experiencing it, or they're going to experience it, and they need the tools in order to now face those challenges. And for me to speak about it, I do not feel uneasy. For me to speak about it, I feel that it needs to be there. I need to be the voice for these people. If no one's speaking about it, I can, but it's the way in which the article is written or the presentation is spoken about. It's if you use such beautiful words and your wording is good, so people take that from it. It's not in the form of I'm preaching. I'm not preaching, but I'm trying to reach out to your heart. I'm trying to open your mind in order for you to receive this message in the best of words, using the best of words. Sure.
So Nadira, having these individuals come to you and discuss their challenges, and it allows you to then publish an article so people can relate to it and take from there. But apart from writing, are there any other platforms that you are involved in that could help the individual that's not perhaps on social media or not reading up an article? How do you connect with more people that can relate to these topics?
I do a host of events throughout the year. So we do workshops, in the sense that we have a specific workshop for parental issues, or perhaps abuse, or marriage workshop, or which is upcoming, in fact. So we have different platforms in that sense that it's advertised over radio, and obviously I am speaking of these topics on radio every day. So it's advertised on different platforms to say, come to this event. We're hosting it for women, it's for mothers, it's for their daughters, it's certain age group. We're focusing on a certain topic, for example, to soothe your soul. And you know what, this is at a certain venue, a certain time, and be there. So inshallah, the workshops are going to kick off more in 2019. So inshallah, we're looking at doing, I'm looking at doing workshops across South Africa, calling out and reaching out to people in also less fortunate areas. So because they don't have access to these areas where you purchase a ticket and now you could sit in a high tea, for instance, or a dinner. So we're trying to get into this to the less fortunate areas where you could go and tackle issues that affect them and challenges that they're facing every day. So inshallah, a lot of workshops for this year that I am planning for this year, inshallah.
So with your workshops on the so-called taboo topics, how well have they been received? What has the turnout been like, and has it been, what are the workshops like? Are they interactive? Could you tell us more about them?
Okay, so far we've did events where we spoke about topics, and I did speak about topics that that are taboo, and for example, homosexuality. And at every every event I bring this up, and certain topics that are not spoken about, and I urge other people that have these public platforms to go out there and speak on topics that our kids need to learn about, to hear about, and to highlight. So the challenges for me was to personally get the courage to go up there and to speak about these topics. And after doing that, I realized that the ladies, the mothers, even the elderly ladies, they were extremely grateful that, you know what, this is being spoken about. This has finally come to light. It was a sort of a sigh, sort of a relief that, look, alhamdulillah, that this topic is being brought to light, and now we can speak comfortably to our children about it.
So you're able to address it, just made it that much easier to address. Okay. And your turnout to these workshops, do you find that they've been fairly successful?
Every event that we did, alhamdulillah, so far has been sold out. In Durban and Johannesburg, it's been sold out, alhamdulillah.
So Nadira, with so much going on with the articles, the workshops that you host, what has been your favorite article to date?
Okay, my favorite article will be Where is the Ummah? To me, that's extremely close to my heart, because with every word that I wrote, I cried. It was for the people of Palestine, it's for the refugees, and for the little children. And you know, that article as an empath, as someone that feels the struggle of another, honestly, it's one of my favorites because there's so much of emotion in that article, and that article has been read in so many khutbahs around South Africa and also internationally, and it speaks of the plight of our brothers and sisters in Palestine, in Syria, in Yemen. You know, they're suffering throughout the world, and we have so much more to be grateful for. We have the comfort of our homes, we have safety of our homes, we have our family with us, and to think that they are our brothers and sisters, we are one ummah. And the suffering that they're going through, we would never experience. We can think about it, we could look at the pictures, you know, we feel heart sore, but that experience, that emotion of a mother to look at her baby drowning in front of her eyes and she cannot do anything, and you know, when your children are starving and you have no food to give them, and they did have homes, and you know, coming from their homes, being bombed and coming into refugee camps, and they experience this. So I tried to pin that down, and for us to realize that what are we doing? Where is the ummah? Are we so busy, you know, in our own world, competing with each other, gossiping about each other, having, you know, these little arguments and amongst each other in terms of the social hierarchy and things like that? And are we so obsessed over what we have in terms of materialistic items that now we're forgetting to raise our hands and even make dua for the ummah out there and for our brothers and sisters who are suffering? Because Allah Ta'ala will question us as to where were we when his ummah was suffering, when the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's ummah was suffering and crying tears of blood. Or what are we engrossed in? What's keeping us so busy in our lives that we have no time to now, you know, really and honestly be there? And whether it's in du'as, whether it's financial help, or just thinking about their plight and thinking about what they're going through every day.
So Nadira, with everything that you've just said now, where is the ummah? Would you say that it comes down to self-reflection? And I think going forward, if we could have an individual like you that could perhaps share some tips, or you could have a workshop teaching us how to self-reflect. I'm not sure that we even know where to start with that.
That's so true. And honestly, Jazakallah for bringing that up, because in today's world and the world that we live in, it's extremely busy. We live in a world that wants to update all the time, wants to, you know, be a picture perfect world. So when you see these Instagram updates, these social media updates, it's all fast-paced because people's lives have become fast-paced. And with that being said, there's no time to sit in silence by yourself and say, I am grateful for.
Yes.
So there's one tip that everybody could do is keep an Alhamdulillah journal. So 3 things I'm grateful for every single night. I will jot that down. Alhamdulillah, I'm grateful for a roof over my head. I'm grateful for running water, for pure water coming out of my tap. I'm grateful for my family and the love I have.
True.
So when you acknowledge that, what you have, that you're grateful for it, you have no time to compare your life to what you see on social media.
Alhamdulillah. So that was Nadira Chippa. We will be taking a short ad break, and please stay tuned because we are running a competition and we have something beautiful from Sister Nadira. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Modern and Modest. With us today, Nadira Chippa, and a very, I would say, a sensitive topic, but a must-have topic for us to chat about. Nadira, with social media, and we spoke about how people tend to live their lives. Thus far, what have you seen thus far with people's lives in itself? I mean, when it comes to reality and appearances, because on social media, everything seems beautiful, glam, the influences, everyone wants to portray that image and they want to live that life, but are those lives real?
Okay, so we live in a world which is now, there's no escape from social media. Right? There's no escape from Instagram, from even WhatsApp status updates and Facebook. So people are starting to live that picture perfect life. Right? So when I say that, they aspire to be like the influencers on Instagram. They want that designer jacket. They want that designer life. You know, the luxury lifestyles that you see of the influencers, the picture perfect smiles with their families, and in terms of relationships and things, we have to understand something, that is not their reality. Every single soul that Allah Ta'ala created and that He blew life into will face challenges. Every single soul that is walking this earth has challenges that we know not of. Nobody puts pictures of their challenges on social media. Nobody is going to tell you they had such a bad day, you know, trying to raise a toddler or a newborn, or they're having marital issues. But you do see glimpses of their life. Now what we do is we internalize it and we take it as that is their life. And our mind subconsciously, sometimes consciously, compares it to what we have. So what happens is we become ungrateful for what we have. So even if we have it better than them, we feel that, you know what, somehow I'm getting the short end of the stick here. Somehow my life is not as glamorous, as picture perfect. But we need to understand it's a glimpse of happiness. It's a glimpse of happiness, and it's a piece of a puzzle. What you're looking at is just a piece of the puzzle. It's not the entire picture.
So do you find that we miss the fact that we need to appreciate the bigger things in life? And like you mentioned, a piece of the puzzle, which isn't even real.
Exactly.
It's superficial. I mean, are these people happy at home? What are their homes like? What are they showing community out there? And what are they showing to their loved ones internally? So just coming back to this discussion that we're having, and you've come up with these two beautiful, amazing books. Inspiration, Ink of Inspiration. So has this had anything to do with the topics you've discussed? You know, tell us more about these books.
Ink of Inspiration deals with topics with regards to various things that affect us as our happiness and peace. Also, it's with topics that appearances versus what is real. You see why I think, and I probably feel why people connect so much to this book is because it's real. It does not shy away from what really happens behind closed doors and closed minds, in fact. It's because you don't have to gloss over everything. Not everything has to be perfect, but we do find our perfect moments in our imperfections.
Okay. And I think you've come up with a second book as well. The name was Soothe Your Soul. Soothe Your Soul. So what is Soothe Your Soul all about? Is it different to Ink of Inspiration?
It's extremely different to Ink of Inspiration. It's a whole new genre of writing. I grew as a writer, I would say. Soothe Your Soul has experiences that are real life experiences of people that I've met, people that wanted me to share their stories with the others. Stories that would soothe your soul for you to appreciate what you have. Even if it's just a slice of bread for that night or for that day, we need to start appreciating the little things in life. And to soothe your soul, it's to reflect. It's to reflect upon yourself, reflect upon Allah Ta'ala's greatness. And Allah Ta'ala, created us for a purpose. And in Soothe Your Soul, there's a quote that says, if you want to find your purpose and you feel that you have no purpose in this world, just place your hand onto your heart and feel that purpose beat.
Very touching, and you said so well. So Nadira, with the 2 books that you've written, what are your plans for the year, or what are your plans going forward? Are you very passionate about writing? Are you considering writing more?
Okay, inshallah, I'm very excited for 2019. I want to do a lot of workshops. I want to get to the to the level where we highlight these topics, not only highlight, but we deal with them. There's a response that comes out from them, that people change the way they think and their mindset because of these workshops. And also, inshallah, soon there will be a release of a new book, which would be for married couples. I'm trying to focus on that. For married couples in terms of the newlyweds, also for couples who have been married for 50 years, for 40 years, for 30 years. Because each couple has a unique relationship, and each one of us needs that spark.
So with so much going on with your life, I mean, I know you're very, very energetic. You have your workshops, your counseling, your writing, but then you've got a family. So how do you balance family and work?
Okay, that every mom would know. It's extremely difficult to shut out and to shut down, basically, to give that time to your family. But it's one of the most important things in life where you can balance, and where you have this balance that my time with my family is so precious that I need to now detox my mind and myself from everything that I've heard or that I have said, to now give myself as a mom, as a wife, to my family. And that time for me is the most precious time of the day.
And what hobbies do you have? Would you like to share that with us?
Definitely reading. Okay.
Sure.
Yes, reading. And also sitting in silence. This will be extremely strange. I probably even never heard of this before, but it's not even a form of meditating, but just sitting in silence and thinking of who you are, and how much Allah Ta'ala has given you, and reflecting on that. And also, one of my favorite hobbies is just lying down on the grass and looking up at the sky. It's extremely simple and cost effective, but you could just lie down and look at the sky, and it soothes you. It soothes you. Yes, it is. I love that.
All right. So the most simplest things in life tend to be the most soothing and the most therapeutic.
Exactly.
Alhamdulillah.
And all those are free.
Absolutely. All right. So that was Nadira Chipa. Please stay tuned. We'll be taking a short ad break. And when we get back from our ad break, we're going to talk more about our competition. And Sister Nadira would be able to share tips on how to soothe yourself. Welcome back to Modern and Modest. And with me we have Sister Nadira, who would quote from her popular book, Soothe Your Soul.
Okay, so I chose this article called Your Light. So here goes. Your problems, your worries, your circumstances, your grief, your loss, your hurt, and your pain are yours. Nobody in the entire world will completely understand you simply because it is your journey. Yes, your family and friends will sympathize, comfort, assist, and give you their words of strength and love. Yet they will not and cannot experience or control your emotions for you. You are ultimately responsible for your actions and reactions to experiences and emotions on this temporary journey called life. Sometimes in life, you will feel entrapped in your own prison of emotions. The steel walls will slowly start to close in on you. You will feel the fear and taste the anxiety building up within your soul. Darkness shall descend from all corners, torturing you and defeating your efforts to breathe. Your heart races, pumping fear and helplessness through every fiber of your body and mind. You search for an escape, a way out of the shackles that bind your soul, yet all you do is sink deeper into the depths of despair. There is no escape. When you finally surrender to the darkness, a beautiful ray of soft white light enters your heart. A light that illuminates and radiates from your soul, extinguishing the darkness that once threatened to engulf you, and gently pulling you up and out of your sorrow. A light so majestically flawless, it gives new hope, guidance, happiness, love, courage, growth, strength and peace. This light is the mercy of Allah. This light will illuminate your life in this world, guiding your path to eternal bliss in the hereafter, Jannah. Seek only from Allah and you will find your eternal light. Ameen.
So Sister Nadira, that was indeed very soothing for my soul, your soul, I think all our viewers out there. But can you tell us, reading an article like that, how should we embrace that and take the message from there?
Okay, when we embrace the darkness, when we acknowledge that we're in despair, that you know what, we know that we're going through this darkness, we're sinking into despair, and often it is felt that we have no way out, there's no escape. You know, people often say, I'm just surviving. No, we are the tribe of Alhamdulillah, we are the people of Alhamdulillah. We don't just survive, we thrive. You know, we are the Ummah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We thrive in a world that's just trying to survive. People, and I often say this in all my events, that we have masks that we wear. Everyone is wearing a mask. And we don't walk around with signboards saying, this is my challenge. And this is how long I've been holding on to resentment, to hate, to, you know, unforgiveness, being arrogant, or be it whatever challenge you're going through in your life, right? Nobody walks around with signboards saying this is my challenge. So the only thing that we can do is be kind to ourselves firstly. Often as women, we tend to be our own worst enemies. So we have this internal dialogue where we keep putting ourselves down. We keep saying we're not good enough, I'm not a good enough mother, I'm not a good enough wife, or whatever profession I'm doing, I'm not good enough. As compared to, and here comes, you know, like a list of people that we see on social media or in our real life. So what we can do for ourselves is try to be kind. Be kind to ourselves. Sit on that musalla and say to Allah Ta'ala, this is where I'm at. You know my sorrows, you see my tears, you feel my fears. Now it's you that's going to heal me, that's going to soothe my soul. And then that light that I speak of, that light, that nur that comes from Allah Ta'ala, it's also tawakkul. You know, Allah Ta'ala says, فَإِنَّ مَا الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. With difficulty comes ease. It's not after difficulty, it's not before the difficulty, but with one difficulty comes multiple eases. So Allah Ta'ala sends you that ease. So you have to remember that irrespective of who's there for you at the time or who's not, Allah Ta'ala will always be there for you. And when I say be kind to others, it's because sometimes in a busy world we tend to ignore the invisibles of the world, the people that sweep the street, the cashiers, the people that pack our groceries. You know, a kind word could make the entire day bright, because they also have challenges that they're facing. So in order to help others out there is for us to be kind to ourselves and to be kind to them. Is to acknowledge them, is to make salam to our Muslim sisters as we walk down the aisle, you know, at a grocery store, is to reply to that salam also, and to be kind to people that can do nothing for us. And in that lies our happiness. Because there's one thing that we can remember is that when we're sinking into darkness, if there's one way to pull yourself up, is to help another sister, is to help somebody that can do nothing for you. In that sense and in that essence, we help ourselves to heal. And just like a wound, we have wounds, emotional wounds, that if we do not treat, they're going to bleed on people that did not harm us. So we need to heal those emotional wounds. So hence soothe your soul. It's to heal those wounds that have been open for too long. So sometimes we start cursing the cause of the wound, but we don't realize that it's not going to heal if we keep, you know, looking at it or picking it. It's going to heal if we treat it. So acknowledge your darkness, acknowledge that wound, and know that Allah Ta'ala is there for you every step of the way.
Well, thank you, Sister Nadira Chippa. That was indeed inspirational, motivational, and just makes us realize that we all are women, we all face the same challenges, and thank you once again for that, and hope to see you soon again on Modern and Modest.
For having me on your show. It's been an excellent conversation, and you're such a lovely person that honestly it just felt like a conversation, not an interview.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so Sister Nadira, we've been talking about running a competition for our viewers. So can you tell our viewers a little bit more about what you'd be sharing with them?
Okay, I have some exciting news, the viewers of Modern and Modest. On ITV, we'll be receiving this set of Ink of Inspiration and Ink of Inspiration to Soothe Your Soul. Both will be signed by me with a special message to you.